What's up, Itchu? For today's video, we have a Gluttony ability team. Mr. T, this one is for you. So, I've actually never done this team before. Basically, what Gluttony ability does, your Pokemon will eat a berry at half of the maximum health or less instead of the usual a quarter max of the health. So virtually you get to eat the berry faster. Now there are a few berries here which I'll put up here which you can use with the Gluttony ability. So what I tried to do is I tried to pick some berries that would be very fun to use. Let's get on to this one. We've got a fat video today. These battles went for a long time because obviously a lot of berries were consumed. If you enjoy the channel, the videos, make sure you hit that like button and let's get some W's. Alright, we got a first random battle here and we have got a Colossal lead. Now, my first Pokemon here is going to be Victory Bell. So, the item I've got on this one, of course, is a berry, which is very surprising. And this is a Lansat berry. So, what Lansat berry does, it gives you the focus energy effect, basically, when consumed. So, this is all based around grass moves and critting moves. That was a pretty terrible moveset. So, we've got Grassy Terrain, Sub, Leaf Blade and Razor Leaf. I put them both on there because they both critted right. I thought, you know, I could get a little bit of disrespect here with Razor Leaf on some, maybe some like more, well, a weaker sort of Pokemon, not such bulky Pokemon. So unfortunately here, I'm actually kind of walled by this Colossal at the moment. I figure I can get some damage against it, but I need the Grassy Terrain up. I need my Lansat berry, 100% crit. I needed to crit too. And with Leaf Blade and Lansat, it is 100% crit, which is going to be very, very handy. So we've eaten that Lansat berry and we got the sub here, which is good. Now this one is going to be, almost sneezed then. I had a berry in my throat. This one is Terra Grass and I had max attack and max speed Jolly Nature. I wanted to spoil you all with a nice long video today too, but I didn't realize it was going to be over an hour. So normally I try to keep them below an hour, but the battle sort of went that way and I wanted to include all the content. So I hope you like the long videos. All right, so Victory Bell is going to faint to Flamethrower. Leaf Blade did very, very underwhelming damage there. I mean, it was a very good counter anyway, so I wasn't too surprised. Next Pokemon is Greedent. Now this is a mixed Greedent set and it's got Stuff Cheeks. So in case I couldn't get Gluttony right away, I could make things go a little bit faster with Stuff Cheeks if I wanted to. Funnily enough, we had on my team, I've got a very, very similar Pokemon to Gulpin as well. So it was quite funny to see someone actually use Gulpin. So this Gulpin, I'm assuming before I even got to attack it, it was going to be an Everlight set, right? So I tried to do some Hyper Beam Starf berry damage there, and I got Clear Smog. So it's a bulky set with Clear Smog, which then went to go for an Encore, so encoring me into my move. So there wasn't much I could really do here. So I kind of had to swap out because Special Greedent, is trash, right? The other move I had was Body Press too, so I pretty much couldn't do anything to that whatsoever. So Starfberry was pretty cool with Stuff Cheeks because I could actually eat it, get a +2 in defense, and then get a random stat boost there. Sometimes it was pretty cool because I got a defense boost, so I had like insta +4 in defense, which is really good with Body Press. But then sometimes I get an attack, and what I was really hoping for was to actually get Special Attack, because then I could go for Belch or Hyper Beam, right? Now, unfortunately, this Flapple set was kind of countered as well by this. This Flapple set was a Mickleberry set, so I don't know, some of you probably don't even know what a Mickleberry is or have never ever used it before, which really isn't too surprising to me. But it actually grants you a accuracy boost for 1 turn, so it's pretty interesting there, but kind of bad. So anyway, I'm going to swap in my Swalot because, of course, Swalot is on this team, and this is a physical set. Now, it's pretty cool because this is a Custap Berry Destiny Bond set, which is kind of nice. The Gulpin had Sticky Hole, which I already guessed anyway, but I just went for Knockoff because that was my best damage. So I swapped out there. Virtually, this kept just encoring all my Pokemon and stuff. They were pretty lucky that I really didn't have much to hit them with very hard. As you can see, my moves are either not very effective or a lot of this team was actually physical too, which made it quite difficult. So I'm going to eat my Micle berry here. So obviously Swalot or Gulpin, both of them have this little to no recovery outside of rest, but they do have Pain Spit as well. So I went for the Dragon Rush there, and it's got Toxic, which I knew that it would have as well. I've used Gulpin a fair bit in Swalot, so I know all their moves inside out. So this set, let me bring it up here, is a max attack and max speed Jolly Nature set as well. And it's got Terra Dragon, so I'm trying to get that, extra accuracy on the Dragon Rush there. It doesn't have, obviously it's got Gluttony, not Hustle, but it can still miss, right? So there we go. So we got a nice little miss there from Dragon Rush, of course, and we got a nice little Flamethrower, which obviously is good. So I'm getting completely countered at the moment by both the, by this Colossal. I can't really do a lot of damage, so I thought, all right, well, I'll go back into Greeted. I'll see if I can get some body press damage here. I don't know why they all came out virtually as physical sets, but boy, did it make things challenging, right? Really, really challenging. So we have a Flamethrower here doing, virtually no damage, which was fine. And body press is doing all right, but they are very defensive too. And I don't have my defensive boost there from the Stuff Cheek. So I'm just going to spam body press here to try and take out the Colossal. So I got a crit, but it didn't really even matter at all because it was a two-hit KO from that range anyway. But of course they did get a flame body too, which doesn't really matter all that much either because I wasn't running any physical moves on this thing. So I went for another body press, and finally we took out the Colossal. The Greedence EVs were max health and max special defense, and I gave that one Bold Nature, so it's mixed around. So now we've got a Florgs coming out here. Now this seemed to be just a standard set, and this team was actually quite bulky. So Moonblast obviously is going to faint me. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I've really only got Swalot. Swalot's going to have to go to Gunk Shot, but they've even got Stealth Rocks on the field too, so I'll try and take them out, right? So they're going to go for Psychic, and that does a lot of damage, so Swalot is going to faint there. I was max health and max attack, so I thought I might badly be able to live that, but definitely a Modest Nature Flork, so, pretty competitive sort of Flork set here. So things aren't looking too good. They got, pretty powerful Pokemon here, and they're going to go for Chilling Water, probably expecting a standard Snorlax set. But we got the PIMPNITE special here, and boy, was this Snorlax set dreadful. Look at it. So we got a special Snorlax here with Mud Slap, only on PIMPNITE channel. Now, the strategy behind this with Belch was Petaya Berry, right? So I thought if I could get some accuracy drops on the opponent with Mud Slap, and then I could get sub up, I could then have Petaya Berry to boost Snorlax's special attack, and then I could use Recycle to keep recycling the berry over and over again and keep boosting Snorlax's horrendous special attack. So we got a Crabominal coming. At least we got some interesting Pokemon here to see. You don't get to see them too often. However, they were they were definitely standard sets for sure. So we got a Drain Punch set, which is pretty common on Crabominal. It's a really good move on it. I just kept going for Mud Slap here, so I thought I want to drop the accuracy of this of these Pokemon. I want to see if I can get maybe a Hyper Beam KO. But as you know, Snorlax's special attack is dreadful, right? So this one was max health and max special attack, and yeah, it was 65 base and special attack. So as you can imagine, I needed as many Petaya berries as as humanly possible here. So we're going to go for that sub to try and get that dub here, right? That's going to boost up my special attack. Now I really needed a miss here from the Crabominal. I needed to miss at least once so I could get maybe a Hyper Beam up. Then I thought, gee, maybe I should go for Mud Slap again, and then I could go for a Cycle and get some more berries. Because at this stage, I was very doubtful I was going to take it out in one shot. So my Substitute, of course, is going to fade here, and I went for a Cycle. I was like, I want to show them my set, right? So we got Petaya Berry. So, by now they probably realized how gimmicky and terrible this team is with all the berries. But I was like, if I get one miss here, I could, possibly take them out. So I thought, all right, we'll go for Hyper Beam. Do I go for Terra now, or do I save it for my last Pokemon? Things are absolutely dire straits now because I've only taken out 2 Pokemon, right? And one of them was a Gulpin. So, you know, when Gulpin's countering your team, you know you've got things, and then this Florgs come out too, which is, you know, a pretty powerful Pokemon. So I went for the Terra Normal. I thought, bugger it, let's go for it. I mean, I'm just gonna see if I can get as much damage as possible. And unfortunately, Florgs swapped in. So I knew that Florgs was going to be able to live this because it's very naturally bulky on the special side, and it's got a good amount of health too. And it did really good damage. I was happy with that. However, Moonblast is going to fate me there, and that crit didn't matter because you got to see the damage that it did to my earlier Pokemon. So I've got one Pokeball left, right? So this Pokemon is pretty good. It's probably my best moveset because it's so scummy. So this is... It's like a minimized Toxic and Venoshock Muckrai. And I felt like you could beat the rest of their team. So I sort of seen the rest of their team. I kind of knew what they were doing there. So I decided to start up a couple of minimized here. They were dropping my attack because they probably thought I was just going to run a physical set. But, you know, after seeing my other sets, you know, it definitely, I thought they'd expect something different, you know. So they're going to start using Moonblast here. Moonblast is going to miss, which is good. I've got all my minimized up, which is going to be helpful. I need those. So this is a Recycle and Iapapa Berry Muck. Which is pretty difficult to actually get around here because, one, you need to be able to land an attack against it. So the idea with this set is to go Toxic and then to go Venoshock, get that extra Venoshock base power. Also, I thought a special Mutt would be pretty funny, right? And, terrible. So I've got max health, 236 in defense, and 16 in special defense with Calm Nature. So I actually dropped his attack. This gives it like all-round really nice bulk. I also had Terra Normal on there too in case I had to go for a Terra. So Florgs is going to go. In comes Krabuka. And I went for Toxic. I thought, well, Toxic and Venoshock should do some nice damage against this. I'm not saying it's going to one-shot and even two-shot, but maybe 3 or 4-shot, right? So now they're going for close combat. If that hits, it's going to do tons of damage. Like this Pokemon Crabominal has a lot of like a really fat attack stat. So Venoshock does some really good damage there. Now, today's question here, what is your favorite Pokemon berry and why? Let me know in the comment section. I really would like to know. My favorite berry would be Starf berry. I think it's a really cool berry, and I think I like the idea of having a stat boost that's random. You know, I think that's really cool and unique. Anyway, that is going to be the end of the Crabominal, so I'm starting to claw my way back into this battle. Out comes the Annihilate, so I thought, well, that's not much for a problem. All I got to do is poison it and, get rid of its health. So they're going to go for bulk up, so I assume it's just their standard Rage Fist set. All of their sets have been standard, even though they're different Pokemon that you don't get to see too often. And I'm going to put that Toxic on there, right? And then I can just go for Venoshock. I thought, well, this is fine, right? So we had 3 minutes of the battle left here. Now, for some reason, I did cut this part out. They used bulk up like 2 or 3 times. I don't know why they did that for, but they had rest here. So there was no way that I could actually beat them at all. I just wanted to show them what my last move was as well. So I went for a Recycle. There are other Pokemon that they weren't beating Muck there, so that's why they send that in there. But anyway, that is the end of the battle. I couldn't do anything to their sleepy Pokemon, and I wasn't going to sit there for 3 minutes, right? All right, let's get on to battle number 2 here. This one is against Yanis. I'm not really sure how to say that one. We have got a Lycanroc Midnight lead here, which is pretty interesting. And I've got my Greedent. So this Greedent is going to be able to live that only just above half health. My Stuff Cheeks would have failed there. And I got a defense and attack boost. So it wasn't exactly what you call the greatest... the greatest berry exchange there, but I still managed to take out the Lycanroc. They actually went for a Focus Punch there, which was pretty cool. So our next Pokemon is going to be Koraidon here, which is interesting. So Koraidon, totally never seen that one before. So there's not a lot I can really do here. Koraidon is a very powerful Pokemon. Now I did think about going Terra Fighting for a moment after all my defensive boost, but I thought, gee, what if it goes for Flare Blitz and then still faints me? I could be wasting that, right? So, of course, we have got a Terra Fighting Koraidon. So I I am glad I didn't go for that, right? I'm definitely very glad about that. Instead of using Collision Course, it used Terra Blast, though, which is, a little bit interesting there. So that is going to be the end of the Greedent. Now, our next Pokemon to bring in here is going to be Swalot. So I thought that I might be able to take them out with a Destiny Bond combination, because I had Gunk Shot, but I wasn't thinking, I was like, that's going to be like a 2 to 3 hit KO probably. Then they swapped and they went into the Necrozma. So Necrozma is most definitely going to go for a Psychic move there. And I do have Terra Dark on this. I thought that could be a good idea, Terra Dark knockoff. But then Koraidon will just come back in and feint me with a fighting move, right? So I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a swap into Muck, and I'm going to see if I can put a poison on this Necrozma, because that'll be pretty handy, actually, if I can actually, pull that off. So we got Toxic, and we got Necrozma swapping out there. I was like, all right, I know what they're going to go into here. There's absolutely nothing I can do at all. And we have Dialga coming in. So they had a pretty, they had a bunch of legendaries here, too. So Dialga is going to be a complete wall to this Muck. As you know, the Muck can't hit any steel types or poison types. So generally, I'll try and get rid of those Pokemon first and then send in the Muck, or send it in when I was confident I could, try and win. So they're going to go for an Earth Power there, obviously, and Snorlax's going to take that pretty well. Going to take that very, very well. So I got that Mud Slap, and I'm ready to go here. So we got a Roar of Time on the Snorlax. And Snorlax actually lives that pretty well, and Gluttony is going to activate the berry right away, Petaya berry. So I thought this actually isn't all that bad, because I can get a substitute up here, and then I could possibly get another Mud Slap, because I've got a recharge here. So they're going to be forced to go for another Roar of Time to probably break my sub, unless they've got a really powerful Steel type move. I reckon I can live it. So then they went for Metal Burst there, but Metal Burst is not going to work because Snorlax is slower. And Metal Burst, it's not like Counter or Mirror Coat. You don't get negative priority, so that's going to fail. So for some reason, they tried to keep going for Metal Burst there. I don't think they wanted to go for Roar of Time again, but they did have Earth Power. So I thought maybe they'll go Earth Power, but, that was going to be a 2-hit KO to break the sub anyway. So I just kept going for Mud Slap. Then they had Iron Tail. So it's a mixed Dialga, and Snorlax was just spamming away with Mud Slap here. So this is pretty funny. I was actually getting some pretty good damage on Dialga after time. Then they swapped to they salty swapped there because they had to Mud Slap Snorlax. It's so powerful and stuff. And then Koraidon come back in. So I thought here, well, with Koraidon, this could be a good idea here to go for the Hyper Beam. But let's get some recycles happening. So Snorlax is going to recycle that Petaya berry. This video is good because it promotes, looking after the environment and recycling and all that sort of stuff, right? So we got that guy, which is pretty good. I've got Hyper Beam, I've got Terra Normal. I thought, you know what? The last thing I reckon they'll expect me to do is go for a Terra here, right? So let's do that, and let's see if we can get some fat damage against this Koraidon, because, it is a counter to my team. And Dialga, Dialga is on a lower man health, so at least that is somewhat manageable. So now they're going to use Collision Course. Not that it really mattered at all, because, all the other instances, I still got one-shotted, right? And that's, obviously easily going to break my sub. I did actually contemplate putting Terra Ghost in this, but I wanted more powerful, a more powerful Hyper Beam. So here comes the Hyper Beam Snorlax on the Koraidon, and it dropped it in one shot. So that was absolutely awesome. We took a Koraidon out with special Snorlax only on PIMPNITE's channel. You're not going to see this spicy content anywhere else, right? This is where all the memes happen. Next Pokemon is going to be Mew, the Twinkling Star. And Snorlax is going to be seeing stars after that Aura Sphere, but it doesn't matter. I was very, very happy I was actually able to do that. That was nice. So our next Pokemon to swap in here is going to be the Swalot. So Swalot does have knockoff, and I thought, well, I'll go for that. Let's see how much it does, right? So Mew is going to unload a Psychic. I almost fainted there because I got a lucky crit. I was like, man, I knocked off their item, and their item was an ability pad. It was an ability patch. So I'm like, I can't lose to the ability patch Mew, right? I'll get roasted for the rest of my life. So I need to use Destiny Bond here and take the ability patch Mew, down. Obviously Mew's got so many ability options. They tried the patch on it, but for some reason it didn't work. So that is going to be there of the Swallow and the Mew at the same time, right? This is pure content, right? This battle was just funny. This is why I included it. So we both got 3 Pokemon down at the moment. We got Cupidus. And we got Flapple. So this was bad, right? This is actually really bad because this is quite powerful against the rest of my team. So I couldn't do a lot here. To be honest, I thought, well, I'll go for sub. I'll sub down, use up my Micle Berry, and then go for acrobatics, but I don't think it's going to do a lot of damage. So they can freely spam Moonblast here, which is very, very bad. So yeah, that's going to be kind of bad for Muck too, because that's kind of neutral and stuff. So this was also bad, right? They also had Alluring Voice, and since that's a sound-based move, it got through my sub. I was like, no, this is really bad. What am I going to do here? And I had Victory Bell as well, so this set was horrendous, right? So I thought, well, it's nothing like a nice fat juicy crit. Let's see if we can get that. However, I don't know, I guess I somehow scared them off because they figured I'd have a poison type move. And then they went into Necrozma, which is going to give me a free substitute, right? This is why this video was so long, by the way, because there's so many substitutes and berry activations in it. I guess that takes out, if you added it all up, it's probably like 5 minutes of all that, animations. So I went for the Leaf Blade there on Necrozma, and I failed to take it out. Now, Necrozma has got a Citrus Berry of its own, so I was like, that sucks. Now they've got Prismatic Laser, which is going to break obviously it's going to break the sub. There's nothing I can do about that. I need to feint this in a couple of turns, but I thought since they use Prismatic Laser, I like Hyper Beam, there is a turn of recharge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the sub up first because I need that protection, and then I'm going to go for Leaf Blade. I could even get my Berry to activate too because my Berry was one substitute away. Damn, I just got a really bad toe cramp. During my narration too. That really hurts. Have you guys ever had a toe cramp? I'm looking at my toe and it's like bent the opposite direction. It's absolutely disgusting. All right, finally it's finished. That was freaking painful, man. Like it just started cramping out of nowhere. Anyway, sorry about that. But back to the video there. Let me know if you had a cramp. Now I know people are gonna say, you should drink pickled brine and all this stuff. It's disgusting, or I'm not drinking pickled brine. I know someone will say it. Now anyway, we have a Dialga here, and we've got a lot of problems because Dialga is resisting my my Leaf Blade a lot. So I've got that Lansat Berry. I've got the 100% crit chance on the Leaf Blade now, which is good. And we got Iron Tail missing, which is even better because that's actually going to allow me to get another attack off. Now, as you can see, I can't do any damage to Dialga whatsoever with Muck at all, right? I've only got Toxic and Venoshock. So Victory Bell has to beat Dialga in order for me to continue this battle. Otherwise, I'm completely walled. So Dialga's going to go for Aurora Time. I think something snapped, and they're going to break the sub there instantly. However, now I've actually got the option of going for Substitute again. But I thought, do I want to do that? Do I want to go for sub here? Get the sub, have an extra turn of protection against the next Pokemon? That could be a good idea. Like, I don't know whether I'm going to outspeed that or not, I might, but I might not. So I've got the sub up, and now I can go for 100% critical hit Leaf Blade then. That's going to take out the Dialga, which is good. So, wipe the sweat off my forehead there. Muck can actually still do something now. But I've got that crit, so I've got Jolly Nature, max attack and max speed here. So I've got Leaf Blade. I'm just going to go for Leaf Blade here. Great damage. I was like, ooh, this is really good, right? This is excellent stuff there. And crit was a 2-hit KO. Then they used Superpower. Now this was obviously the contrary set to, you didn't get to see the boost. We would have been cut right after that, but it was a mix set. So it was Moonblast and the Superpower set. So they actually ended up winning the speed tie there and took out my victory. I'm like, of course. So my last Pokemon now is Muck. Now, Muck has got Toxic, and I thought, well, I can't let them get too many of these boost up. I don't think it's going to do that much anyway. And they went for a Moonblast. I thought, well, Moonblast is like a 3-hit KO. Now, as you know, I've got Recycle on this set. So I can just keep recycling Iapapa Berry like over and over and over. And then I could also go for Venoshock. And, you know, Venoshock should do some pretty good damage at this range, right? So here comes the Superpower, and Superpower does donkeys, right? And I'm going to eat my, my Iapapa Berry. So Iapapa Berry gives me lots of my health back there, and I can just keep recycling that over and over again, which is really cool. I reckon it would be really cool if Greedent got recycle. I know it'd be kind of broken, but I think it'd be really, really cool. It's not like an overly, it's not a fast Pokemon, but it will be crazy, crazy bulky. Anyway, Venoshock is going to take out the Enamorus, and that is the end of the battle there. I hope you enjoyed that one, everyone. Let's get on to the next battle. All right, battle number 3 here. This one is against Strawberry Jam, another random opponent here. And we have, I do like a bit of Strawberry Jam, especially on scones. You know, you get some scones, you get some Strawberry Jam, you put a bit of cream on there, and you eat that. It's very, very good. That's something I haven't had for a long time, is a good scone with jam and cream. And then a cup of tea with it. That would be excellent. I actually would crave that right now. Anyway, we've got a Palafin lead here, and they swapped into Pikachu. Now Pikachu's going to get dropped there by the Greedent. Now I actually got a really, really good boost there from Starf, so handy. So in comes the Lucario. So I thought, well, you're definitely going to use a fighting type move. Should I stay in, or should I just go for, body press again? So Lucario goes for the Sword Dance. Thought, that's going to do a lot of damage here. And they had a Focus Sash. So I'm like, all right, that makes sense then. That definitely makes sense. So Lucario's got the Focus Sash. I got a +2. So this is actually quite a threatening Pokemon now. But ready? I lived on 1 health in the close combat. The merch is available, people. And we got that juicy 1 HP lift and a little bit of salt there to take out the Lucario. So Greedent is completely dominating their team right now. However, this turn I am going to get outspent. So we got the Incineroar. So everything bar from Pikachu was pure sweat on this team, by the way. This was a super sweaty team. So we've got the Pikachu, the fake out from the Incineroar. I've totally never seen it run that before. And we're going to go into Swalot here. All right. Now, Swalot can go for Gunk Shot. They're going to knock off my Custap Berry, which is a bit of a shame. This is another thing too. I had a lot of battles with this team, but battles that were really kind of boring when opponents just spam knockoff and knocked off all my berries. So I didn't really include many battles like that because they just simply weren't interesting. And there were battles where the opponent, had really, really easy counters too. So I didn't really include those because they weren't really exciting. Even though some of them could have been a bit closer, they just weren't exciting, right? I couldn't show off any of the strategies, so I thought I won't include those. Anyway, so out goes Incineroar, use Parting Shot or something like that. A very rare move to see that used. And in comes Dragonite. So Dragonite is going to have its multi-scale broken. I'm sure that it's got it, and I'm sure it's just a standard extreme speed Dragon Dance set. So I've got a Poison, which is nice, and I thought, you're not expecting me to have Ice Punch here. Now, I know that I've got a drop in attack, but I thought without multi-scale, Dragonite is still going to take a sizable chunk of damage from this. I may even be able to feint it. So Dragonite is going to go for Dragon Dance. Also was a shiny green Dragonite too, so I'm like, I have to get rid of this shit. I've got to go for that Ice Punch. Ice Punch almost takes it out, and this is really salty, right? They must have been salty. So they got a weakness policy, and this Poison is going to take them out before they can use it. So as I said, this was a sweaty, sweaty team. Like, apart from that Pikachu, this was like pure sweat. And like Greedent and Swalot were playing them like a fiddle, right? Then there were some issues here. This is where the opponent actually got really, really lucky here. They didn't play well. They just got lucky. And this completely turned around the battle, right? So I swapped out the Swalot. And what I did here, because I wanted to retain my attack, I went to Flapple. So I figured they'd probably go for a you know, I might go for a ground move here. And they did. They went for high horsepower. So that did donkey. So I'm like, all right, that's okay. I'm sure they've got knockoff and drain punch on this too. So I got acrobatics. I thought, well, I'll sub down and I'll get acrobatics damage. Also, I might be able to stall out this grassy terrain a little bit too, because it's not really going to benefit me all that much. It's probably going to benefit the Rillaboom a lot more. I mean, you know, obviously it's just a standard Rillaboom stat too that everyone's used in their lifetime. So I've got acrobatics to use, and I can go. I was thinking I could even try and go for Dragon Rush too, but I have to watch out. I don't put the Flapple on at too low amount of health, because obviously they'll just go for a grassy glide then and faint me. So I put up the sub again. Now they're going for they're just gonna keep using knockoff over and over, right? That's all they can, you know, they can really do here. All I've sort of allowed them to do so far in this battle. I can go for acrobatics now or Dragon Rush. I was like, should I go for Dragon Rush? Nah, we'll go acrobatics. So I got good damage there. I mean, let's be real, if that was a hustle Flapple, that would have been dead. But like, you know, I'm running a Gluttony set, so unfortunately it did like nowhere near the amount of damage. So I thought, well, you know, you're going to use Grassy Glide here. I kind of have to stay in because I don't want to swap into that. So I thought, all right, well, that's fine. You know, I dropped its health. I can swap in Swallow now, and then I can just finish it off with, you know, Gunk Shot. That'll be fine. You know, looking at the rest of their team, they don't want to swap in a Gunk Shot. None of those Pokemon are going to want to swap into this. So this is excellent, right? Now, I had a bit of a feeling here that they'll go high horsepower because they used it before. So I thought, well, if I go Terra Dark here, that'll be neutral, and then I'll go for Gunk Shot and faint them, and then Rillaboom will be gone, and I'll be glad because it counters. It really, really does counter my team, right? You know, what's Victreebel going to do with Leaf Blade? It's going to do donkeys, right? So I went for that Terra Dark. Here comes the high horsepower. I lived it, which, you know, exactly right. And Gunk Shot misses. That miss there caused the opponent to really, really come back into this battle. This was like a turning point for them to easily come back into the battle now. So I was like, man, they just got handed, you know, they got handed like almost a free win there on a silver platter. So Swallowed is down. So what am I going to do here? How am I going to get rid of this Rillaboom, right? Yeah, what can I do? I'd lost my Swalot too, because Swalot would have been able to sponge like, you know, a fake out from that Incineroar, and they may have been forced to go to Flip. So I went into Snorlax. As you can see, what's Snorlax going to do? Hyper Beam. So I was in a lot of trouble here, right? So now, you know, they can just keep knocking off all my items, you know, with little to no effort. So I went for a substitute here. That's all I could really do. I thought, well, I can't go Terra Normal. I've already used that. I can't recycle my item because it just got knocked off. And they can just mindlessly spam drum beating. They don't know, no effort required, right? It was, sorry, just bumped my microphone there. Hopefully there wasn't any noise. I hadn't seen Drain Punch yet, which was good. You know, then again, they already had a lot more, you know, too many advantages as well. So I went for Hyper Beam. I got some good damage there, and they're going to fake me with drum beating. But look what that caused, right? That caused me to lose my Snorlax, which would have been a handy swapping Pokemon. Again, you know, Palafin as well was in the back. You know, that's a powerful, powerful Pokemon. So I had to think of these things, right? So I've got Victreebel. And I thought, well, at least you are in range, but I want to get my Lansat Berry up first, you know. I think that's going to be important. I might need that 100% crit to, you know, do some good damage there. So Rillaboom is just continually spamming the A button there with knockoff. They can't really do much here. If you look at Victreebel, its body sort of looks like a pickle as well. It's got like those little patchy parts on it there. So we finally took out the Rillaboom, which should have died 20 turns earlier. Now we've got the Incineroar coming in. But this isn't going to be much for a problem here because Victreebel completely counters this. You know, with that poison being there and with Substitute, if I can outspeed that, I can just go sub, you know, Leaf Blade. So I wasn't really worried about this Incineroar, right? It could, you know, it couldn't really do much. And if they wanted to go for Flare Blitz, well, then be my guest. You can get rid of your health. That's fine, you know. So I knew they were just going to go for knockoff too. They were just going to spam knockoff. So knockoff is going to break my sub, and they're just going to keep damaging themselves with Toxic, which is perfectly fine. Now I thought it'd be really good to have a substitute up here against that Palafin, right? Because that Palafin is a very, very powerful Pokemon, right? I don't even know what they were thinking when they made Palafin. It's that powerful. So they're going to keep using Knockoff here. Knockoff obviously is, still going to be able to break my sub. So I'm not going to be able to, have a free sub up against the Palafin and then go for Leaf Blade. So I think that the Leaf Blade would kill Palafin or get very, very close, because it's got a lot of natural bolts. So I went for the Leaf Blade here on the Incineroar, and I took it out. Which was cool. But it wasn't much of a threat once I'd poisoned it and it was a low amount of health. So last Pokemon, of course, is the Palafin. And I was like, man, I think I'm in range. Even Jet Punch might take me out from here. But they had Ice Punch and they're outsped. So I was like, okay, well, that's that, no damage. I can't get any damage there from Victory Bell. My last Pokemon here that I had left was Muck. So I thought, all right, there is still a chance. I just got to get some minimized up, and I can beat this. If I get minimized up, all I got to do then is recycle my berry, and I can get around this Pokemon. I'd have to get, obviously I'd have to get lucky here with what they do and what they're going to tear into. So they went for Terra Fighting, so I'm like, okay, that's good. That's fine. I can get around this, and I know that I can live that attack right. So we got a close combat here from the Palafin, and of course they got a Sympathy crit there. So this opponent didn't do anything. They didn't really battle that great, but they just got handed the victory there. That Gunk Shot miss, especially handed in the victory. And of course, just a little bit of extra help there from the, from RNG with the crit on the Muck. But I just thought I'd show you that battle. It was interesting because I was completely dominating and outplay them, but it's interesting how much like one turn of luck can turn a whole battle around. If someone has one single overwhelming advantage, right? I just thought that was a really interesting battle to show you there. It doesn't matter what you do sometimes. You can't win when there's a counter there. All right, let's get on to the next battle here. This was a funny battle too. We've got a random opponent here, and we've got a Giratina lead here. So what I was attempting to do, I was trying to get my Micle Berry to work here. So Micle Berry is 1.2, so it's kind of terrible, really. It doesn't even give 1.5, which is kind of bad there. So I was trying to sub down to get my Micle Berry to activate and then go for Dragon Rush on Giratina. Now, it was a bit risky, I know, because Giratina Origin commonly runs Shadow Sneak, but they were going for Shadow Force. That actually kind of messed me up there because the Micle Berry grants the accuracy for the next turn, right? So I was like, yeah, I guess I could go recycle. So I had to end up recycling my berry here. I was like, I hope this thing doesn't have, Shadow Force and Shadow Sneak because, I did all these substitutes for no reason. That'd be like really salty if I went through all that and then, they had an easy counter at the end. So obviously Shadow Force is going to break my sub there. There's absolutely nothing I can do about that at all. So now I've got my Dragon Rush. I've got my Micle Berry, I've got my Dragon Rush, I'm ready to go, and Dragon Rush misses. So, that's, it happens, right? So that was a really, really salty miss. Like, I was like, I may have said some choice words after that miss. I mean, I'm not saying I would have fainted it. Without Hustle, Flapple is woefully underpowered and without Dragonets, but it would have done some really good damage. I may have even got a flinch too. Anyway, so into the Swallow. I really like this Custap Berry Swallow set with Gluttony. I think it's actually kind of under, it's actually really, really, really good, right? You could run this set with a special one too. Virtually, you get your Custap Berry at half health, which is really good. So typically, Swallow can take a hit, right? It's a bulky Pokemon, and also can dish out quite a good hit too. So you can either go for a 2-hit KO and get priority, but if you feel you come across like a big counter, like say this, you can just go for Destiny Bond and then take the Pokemon with you, right? So I think that's quite good. Gluttony Custap Berry is kind of underrated. I think Swallow is an underrated Pokemon too. I think it's very, very good. And the different moves that it gets are really nice too. Next Pokemon is going to be Greninja. I've never seen that in my life. And we're going to bring in Victory Bell. It's not what you call the greatest matchup in the world, but I thought I'll go for this substitute here. So I knew that Greninja was going to swap out. I had a good feeling, being a bad matchup for it. And we have got a Ho-Oh. So this was an ultra counter to my team too. So I'm thinking like, how am I going to get rid of this? The only thing I was thinking of is maybe I can use Muck here to get rid of it, but it was rough, right? Because I'll be honest, right? At the start, I was like, I got to get rid of that Ho-Oh. Well, I'll use Swallow, but you know, against that Giratina, I thought, man, that's going to be hard to get around. I don't know if I got the moves to get around. You know, Snorlax has got Hyper Beam and Mud Slap. You know, Victory Bell's got Leaf Blade, and, you know, I think I'll struggle with a Giratina too. So I used up my Destiny Bond there to only to have, you know, another counter. Then another counter, like Azama Zen, I was like, oh, I don't know what I can do to this. Like, they're like two heavy counters. Like, I can take a few counters, but not like three. Like, this is incredibly bulky Pokemon, right? So I don't know what I'm going to do. I was stuck. I was like, well, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, Muck might be able to beat Ho-Oh if it gets enough minimized up, but let's say I get Muck set up. What can I do to Zamazenta? I can't do anything. It's not like I can poison it. So I was in a bit of a, catch-22 where I wanted to set the Muck up, but with Zamazenta around, I was like, I can't do that. I have to get rid of Zamazenta. And as you can see, I had the worst Snorlax set in existence here, so things weren't going too well. Plus, they had close. You know, I had all the counters here, so I'm thinking, what can I do? Like, how can I get around this? I was just thinking, I'm like, there's only one chance to get around Zamazenta, and that actually surprisingly lied with Muck. So you're probably wondering, oh, well, how's that going to work? So you'll get to see, right? But first I was like, all right, I'm going to have a run at Greeted and see if I can get a Body Press +4 with Starf Breathe. It might be able to get some good damage here. They, you know, close combat and stuff like that. They have dropped their defenses. This could be my chance here, you know. I've got Terra Fighting. So they're going to go for close combat again. And they only just didn't feint me there. It was very, very close. But as you know, my Starf Berry is going to activate. And I went for Stuffed Cheeks this turn. And I got a freaking Starf Berry boost in speed. Like, nothing is going my way right now. Like, absolutely nothing. Maybe I should have gone for Body Press there. Sure, that was an option. But maybe they could have swapped there because they did use close combat. But now they're going to go for Moon Blast. It was a mix set. I just went for Body Press. And I actually got some really, really impressive damage there. Just due to the effects of, being defensive stuff like that. Being a defensive EVs. If I had the effects of, like, the Starf Berry and Stuffed Cheeks, or the Berry activation there, I think they would have killed it. But anyway, I got a bit of damage, but as you know, it's not like, what am I going to do with Victory Bell to that thing? That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, man, there's only one way I've got any chance of beating that Zamazenta. Anyway, so in comes Ho-Oh. What am I going to do to this? So I just went for Terra Grass. Like, all right, let's go for a Leaf Blade. That'll do a lot of damage to a fire and flying type. You know, quad resistant. It's going to do like 1 damage. Well, anyway, I'm not sure why I stuck around in this battle for it at this point. Really, I was like, there's too many counters here. I was just bored. I was like, I wonder if this like low chance thing will happen, right? So I swapped out Victory Bell and I went into Muck here. I thought, I want to see if I can cause some, like, I got to win by a Rage. There's only 2 options: a Rage Quit to Muck, or that Zamazenta is forced to go for a Terra. That's my only 2 options, right? So that Ho's going to swap out, and we have got the Zekrom cut. Oh, Zekrom is floating. It's floating in there. That looks pretty cool. So I went for Toxie. I thought, all right, we've got the poison there. So I thought, if I could get enough minimizers here, they won't be able to land any attacks on me whatsoever. They'd have to get pretty lucky to land an attack, you know, because, you know, 3 minimizers is no joke. It's very, very annoying to get around too. So as soon as I used Toxicom, they insta-swap there. So I was like, yeah, here comes Zamazenta. But I'm like, well, you know, they got half health. I wonder what their Terra is, because there are a few good Terras on Zamazenta that aren't necessarily steel either. Like, you can have fighting for body press, you know. But yeah, at this point in time, I was like, nah, they're probably going to go for close combat. So let's go into Victory Bell. Let's drop their defenses, right? So they went for the close combat there. Well, as you can see, I didn't live it very well. Not that I really expected to live it at all. So they did have a bit of a drop there. I was like, cool, I got a Lansat berry boost. That's nice. At least I can go for Leaf Blade and get some damage and bypass, some boost there. But they finished me off of Moonblast. Actually, no, I wouldn't have bypassed any boost because they already got their boost earlier. But it didn't matter because they outsped and fainted me with Moonblast. I was like, all right, well, I've got Muck left. Here we go. Let's see what we can do here. I'm not very hopeful. Like, I've fainted one Pokemon, right? Literally one Pokemon, a Giratina. And that was with Destiny Bond. So things are looking super duper desperate here. So I got the minimize up. They did get the close combat off, which did a sizable chunk of my damage. Then they went for the Moonblast. Well, Moonblast does nothing, and I'm going to eat my Iapapa berry, which is fine. I was happy about that. Now, at this stage, when you use minimized Pokemon, you want to use the evasion as soon as possible, right? The more evasion you have, the better, because that means you can implement your strategy right. So I thought, well, I can't do anything. I don't want to show off my moveset, my whole moveset. I don't want to give them I don't want to give them the signal that I don't have a move to hit them. Then out of nowhere, they went for a Terra Fighting. I'm like, oh, this is great. Because I didn't even know this was going to happen. But then they went for Moonblast again. Like, are they trying to drop my specialist? I don't know what they're doing right. Are they trying to conserve their defenses? They don't want to drop them. Are they scared of that? Then they went for Behemoth Bash. So Behemoth Bash misses. Thank goodness, because that would have done a lot of damage. And I just wasted no time here and went for the Toxic. So I thought, great, at least I've got a chance now at defeating Zamazenta. I mean, I know there's 4 of the Pokemon left there, but this is really good, If I can get maximum minimized up, I might have this, So then they salty swapped out there, and in came Greninja. Now, Greninja, I was like, I hope this doesn't have, like, a poison move and turns itself into a poison type, because that could be really bad. That could be a solid counter, too. So I was like, well, time to find out. I'll go for Toxic, and they went for Hydro Pump. Protein Hydro Pump. I was like, bro, that's never going to hit with evasion up. You got to be super lucky, because I was at max evasion, so that'd have to be pretty. I don't know what the chances to land that are, but I'm sure they're, like, less than 10%, They're probably, like, 5% or less. So Greninja is now poison, which is good. So all I needed to do was land poison on all these other Pokemon. Then they swapped out Greninja. I was like, all right, I'm thinking, this is good. Things are looking up here. I'm clawing my way back in it. Then they went to the Skeledirge. I'm like, yeah, this is still fine. This is still fine. I just hope that it doesn't get lucky. Then they landed a Flamethrower. I'm like, oh no. And it wasn't Torch Song though, which is good. It wasn't Torch Song. I didn't get burned either, which is good, and I ate my Iapapa berry, so it was fine. I got the Toxic up on there. Now, this thing, I was like, wait, this is going to be unaware, right? So this is going to be unaware of my stat boost, right? So it's going to be able to land attacks against me. So I'm like, oh no. But then they missed Flamethrower, so I thought, oh, okay, it's Blaze Skeledirge then. So I just went for Recycle because I thought I know that I can beat this Pokemon, and then they salty rage quit. So we were gonna get the win there. We got a nice juicy baby bottle there. That was brilliant. It was so funny because the only thing that was gonna happen there, I was like, they either go for a Terra on Zamazenta or they rage quit, and both things happened. Like you can't make this up, right? All right, let's get on to the next battle here. We got a pretty interesting battle here. So we got a Snorlax lead. I don't know my opponent's trainer name either. So if anyone can translate these names, that'd be absolutely awesome. So this is pretty funny because I actually was forced to struggle here. And then they went for Ice Punch. So it was a troll set, and then I got frozen. So I got frozen and struggled at the same time. Like, this is some bad luck, right? So I'm sitting there on Frozen Solid, and then they're going to go for a Giga Impact on Snorlax, which it's going to do nothing, right? Absolutely nothing. So I'm sitting there, I'm still Frozen Solid, and Snorlax is on its recharge turn. So I'm like, if I can thaw out of this and get rid of the Encore, I'll be fine. So I thawed out here, which is good, and then I went for Body Press, and Body Press just annihilates Snorlax because of all the boosts that I got there. So I was like, this started off terrible, but then it's good, right? We're back in the game. So in comes the Venusaur. Now, I've got Body Press, and I also had Hyper Beam, and the Venusaur's going to use Leech Seed. So I guess it's like, you know, one of those greedy Leech Seed protects, you know, sets there, stalling set. This had Rocky Helmet too, so like, yep, that's exactly what it is. You know, that's the thing of the type of set there. So Greedent doesn't have long for this world, and there's no way to really like. There's no point swapping it out. Now the Venusaur went for a Sunny Day, so like, all right, you've got Chlorophyll then, I guess. Hyper Beam misses, which really sucks there. I would have liked to get some, you know, some extra damage off against the Venusaur. So I've got one more turn left. I either get hit by whatever Venusaur's got, or I die to Leech Seed. And it's got Petal Blizzard. Like, oh, Petal Blizzard didn't even fight me, and I got a Body Press off, which is pretty funny. So they are going to get a bit of help. Actually, no, they're not. Rocky Helmet, I've denied them of their Leech Seed. So that was cool. So that was an interesting set. Leech Seed, Sunny Day. I don't know. It's physical. So I went into Flappelia, and I went for just a raw Dragon Rush, and I completely demolished it in one shot, which is awesome. So that is going to be the end of the Venusaur. I was pretty happy about that. So our next Pokemon here. Wait, I just figured out what their name is. I think this is Trainer Red's team because their name is R. I don't know why they called it R for. Because I think it might be, I'm pretty sure it's Red's team just looking at it now. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, they brought in a Charizard, and it was a physical Charizard. Oh, we seen a physical Charizard the other day. So that is going to, that's going to obviously break my sub, you know, with the Sun Up and stuff like that. So I was thinking, gee, I guess I can go for Dragon Rush. But I like my Mickleberry. Then look how much their health went down there. They had Flare Blitz, Life Orb, and Solar Power all at once. What the hell? So I thought this was pretty funny. So like, I'm going to set the sub up. I'm just going to let them faint themselves. So they went for it. Look at this, ready? So they got the Flare Blitz recall. And it has, no joke, it's got Life Orb too, see? I'm pretty sure it did. I swear they had Life Orb. So Flare Blitz, let me just watch it. Damage Ray, the recall. Lost, yeah, it's got all three. It's got, all three, man. That's like Charizard living for one turn set. Anyway, I finished it off with the Dragon Rush there, which is pretty cool. So, at least this person has some interesting sets, right? Our next Pokemon here is going to be Pikachu. Another Pikachu today. So, I've got Dragon Rush. I thought, well, I'll go for some. I may as well go for that. Let's see what Pikachu's going to do. Pikachu can do a few things. So it's going to use Reverse on my... Oh. Now, that is sus, right? Because a Pokemon would only use Reversal if it's got a way of living on a low amount of health, i.e., Sturdy or Focus Sash or Endure. And that, normally Pikachu would run a Light Ball, So I'm like, all right, and then they use Iron Tail. I was like, what the heck is this Pikachu set? So it's a physical one, so Reversal on Iron Tail. So I thought, all right, this is pretty cool. This is interesting. I've got Dragon Rush. I'll just go for that, right? I've got the Mickleberry boost, and we hit Pikachu, and I had a Focus. I knew it. I had a feeling something was, I smelled a rat, So we got that Pikachu reversal, and Pikachu's gonna go for a Thunder Wave. I was like, what? It must have been a misclick, right? It had to be a misclick. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna recycle my berry there because I want to use that again. This is a very, very important team. So I've got that Mickleberry there, and now Pikachu's gonna go for reversal this time. So they're going to break my sub. Look, I could have attacked them to finish them off there, but I wanted to get Mickleberry back. I thought that would be pretty cool. They probably don't even know what a Mickleberry is, let's be real. So I can go for anything here. I was like, should I go for Dragon Rush? Because, I've got Mickleberry, so I did that, I couldn't help myself. I had to go for that second Dragon Rush. So, whatever, I do things for science, that. Next Pokemon we got is going to be Blastoise, and I've got Acrobatics, so I went for that. Good quality damage there. Now they're going to use Shell Smash. So out comes the sweat now, They've had some memes, but out comes the sweat. I'm like, oh, okay. This is actually quite problematic, Now, there was one Pokemon on my team which I thought might be able to live this. Only just, though. And that was Swalot. I thought, if I can get Swalot to live this, and then I can get Custap Berry Destiny Bond and take it out, that could work too. That could be a good idea, so I thought I'd give that a try. So I went into Swalot here. I thought, well, I'm definitely going to attack it this turn. Let's go for Gunk Shot, right? So here comes Hydro Pump right out of the cannons and right into its stomach, but it lived it easy live. And Gunk Shot takes it out with a crit. Now, I don't know if that one mattered, but in comes Lapras, and I was like, great, I'll just go for a Decibon Custap Berry, and I'll get the W, right? So eating that berry, which is tasting very nice, and then they salty cancelled. I'm like, come on, bro, I could have got my Custap Berry activation. But anyway, Red, I think you're going to take your team back to the drawing board. Let's get on to the sixth and final battle of today's video. This one's against T, and we have an interesting team here. I wonder if you can guess it. Now, this battle was probably one of the longer battles that I actually had here, but it was an absolute disaster. And the reason it was a disaster for is because nothing worked. Like, there was like things that happened that I got countered. Like, nothing was working here. So I thought it would be interesting to show you what happened when nothing worked. And I still was able to do something. I thought that might be interesting. So I'm going to go for Dragon Rush. And of course, that's going to miss. And we got a critting Barraskewda here. So I was like, oh, this is going to be very, very problematic, right? So it's a special set. It's got Blizzard. So Blizzard misses here. So this is pretty funny. So what I was trying to do here, I was trying to sub down to my Micle Berry, right? So I wanted to keep using sub over and over again so I could get down them. So the Blizzard this time is going to land and it's crit. So I'm guessing it's a Scope Lens critting set. So it's going to do some fair damage here. So Flapple's going to go for another sub. I need one more substitute to get down there. And now it's going to use Acro Pressure. So Acro Pressure is going to raise its attack. So I was like, this will be very, very bad if it gets a special attack boost. It really, like, imagine if I miss, you know. So I'm going for sub again, and, Blizzard keeps missing, and there was Acro Pressure. So I was in a bit of a situation here where I was just spamming substitute because I wanted them to do damage. Like, everything kept missing. So at last, Blizzard lands there with its, incredible accuracy. And I can go for another sub here, which is going to be fine. So we got that Gluttony sub there, which is excellent. So now I can go for a Dragon Rush. I thought, well, Dragon Rush is a powerful move. I'll go for that on the Barraskewda. Now, Barraskewda is, it's not a very bulky Pokemon at all. So here comes a big old Hydro Pump, and that's going to break my sub there. Even though I resist, like, that's going to break it. I bet you it is, right? And it did, which was not much of a surprise, high base power and a crit there. So I went for Dragon Rush, and it actually lands, and Barraskewda has a freaking Focus Sash. I was like, are you kidding me? Son of that a Scope Lens. So I was pretty salty about that, not gonna lie. Now they're gonna go for Blizzard, and of course this time it lands with no sub. Like, of course, right? So the salt levels are already starting to rise here. I was like, come on. So we're going to go into Snorlax. I see an opportunity, and I'm going to take it, right? Because we got a nice, juicy Mud Slap KO here, and I can't pass up this opportunity. So Hydro Pump is going to miss here, which is good, and we got a nice, salty little KO there. So, that made me feel a little bit better inside after that. That was good, So our next Pokemon here is going to be Greedent. So we both have a Greedent. So I was like, I wonder what this set is actually going to be. So I'm going to swap Snorlax out because Greedent is going to be like way too bulky for me to do any damage to it all. And I thought, how about I go into Victory Bell? Because if this is like a stuffed cheek set, which it is here, I can bypass those defensive boosts and go for a Leaf Blade. I thought that'd be good. So they had a Petaya Berry, so a special attacking Greedent. Pretty cool. I'm like, well, I've got sub here, so I go for that. Or I could throw up the Grassy Terrain. So I decided to set the Grassy Terrain up. I thought, I need all the boosts I can get, because even with a crit, Greedent is pretty bulky, it's got a lot of health. So this is a Hyper Beam set. I'm like, oh, that's going to do a lot. And Victory Bell just got completely wasted there. So it's kind of similar to my my Snorlax set, or even my own Greedent. So I was like, oh, it's a family feud. So I'm going to bring in my Greedent here, and I'm going to stuff my own cheeks, right? So I was hoping that sounded absolutely disgusting, by the way. So I went for that, and I got an attack boost. I'm like, I really wanted a special attack boost because
I had body press for this, and I also had belch as well. So I did initially run rest on this, but I changed my mind and gave a high boom. So this is one of the earlier teams that I actually, the earlier attempts of this team. So this graded set is a little bit different. So they had belch and they missed belch. I don't know how you miss a belch, like you burp and I guess you hear it. So I went for belch there. It was like a little cartoon cloud. Here it is again. It sort of looks like, when you think about it, it kind of looks like wheezing smoke a little bit, like the animation. It's like super duper cartoony. So I'm thinking what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna keep going for belch here, right? We're gonna keep burping at each other. Now we got a high beam. I thought, well, that's gonna hurt a lot, and I managed to live it only because I was running max special defense there. And I was able to live that pretty nice. So the grass is gone, which is good, and I can go for body press now. I'm free to go for that, and I figured it should do some alright damage. But I was like, well, they do have a +2 up. Let's see how much it does. So it does kind of around the same as belch, you know. Kind of around the same. I know they're not running any special defense either. So the second body press actually takes it out. So I think the first one was a min, and then we had a maximum one there. I hope you're enjoying the long video of them. Is anyone still deep into the video watching? Did you stick around for the whole time? Let me know in the comment section. I always like to know that. Another Colossal. So not often you get to see Colossal, and not often you get to see 2 in one video. So I'm going to sit on that Colossal. Ooh, that'd be hot. Imagine sitting on hot coals. That wouldn't be good, right? That would burn your sphincter. All right, anyway, it's a weakness policy set. Here comes Ancient Power, and Greeded is going to get dropped. At least it didn't get a boost, right? So as you know, this team does actually, for some reason, really struggle against Colossal, but this one isn't a really defensive bulky set. So I thought, ooh, this is free real estate. I might be able to get a Mud Slap KO here. A really good one, right? But I gotta watch out though, because it might do a lot more damage than I expect. So here comes Ancient Power. Ancient Power it's about a 3-hit KO. So I managed to get a Petaya Berry boost there, which is really cool, and I managed to get a sub up. So I thought, look, I could go for another recycle here. That could be good, and then I could go for substitute afterwards. That would allow me to, or I could just go for an attacking move afterwards, because I'm sure that I can live one more Ancient Power boost. Unless it was a crit, right? That was the only thing that was worried, or I got like, maximum damage. So I was like, you know what, bugger it, let's go for Petaya Berry. I've got +2. Now, this is good, right? Because I got Mud Slap, which is 4 times super effective, and I've got +2 in special attack. I got that Modest Nature's like, this is going to be content, right? Here we go. So Ancient Power does not fake me. No scumbag Ancient Power boost, and I took Colossal out with a Mud Slap. That was awesome, because it was a critical hit. I'm going to be real with you. I actually think that mattered, because it's still like absolute garbage. So that's the end of Colossal. So I was feeling a little bit better after that. Then I seen Corviknight. I was like, wow, what am I gonna do to this, right? So Hurricane actually missed me, a special Corviknight, and Hyper Beam does really impressive damage. I'm like, damn, that was good. So Hurricane lands the second time and takes out the Snorlax. But I was happy about that, because this is another recording when I did like a bunch of recordings earlier on. It was like last week, and my computer was like, they're really struggling during that, so there might be a few little graphical glitches in this last battle, just by the way. Okay, so we got Swalot here. I thought, well, what can Swalot do here? So Corviknight's gonna go for a Steel Beam. That was a critical hit, and it fainted itself. Like, oh, this is good, right? This is really good, because now I can go for a Destiny Bond and take out, take the Hatterene out. But I was like, maybe I should just go for Gunk Shot. It's like, but what if it's got a troll item, or, something that lives, right? So I went for the Destiny Bond, like, you know what? Against my better judgment, I want to go for the Custap Berry. This is a berry team, right? So I was like, all right, well, I'll faint to this one. And then it uses Nuzzle. I'm like, are you serious? So it was a fail of all proportions. So I was pretty salty because I lost my. And then they had a physical set with Psycho Car. Why didn't you use that before? So I was like, the salt levels are starting to rise again there, because I didn't get my Destiny, like the Sympathy Destiny Bond KO. But then I was like, wait, I did get it right, because Custap Berry allowed me priority. But then it outsped me the next turn, but my last move was still Destiny Bond, so that was pretty cool, right? So I was like, oh, that's good. because I forgot because I went first, right? But then I lost my priority, which is, pretty funny. So out comes Flapple, and I've got Muck left. So I thought, wonder what Flapple can do to Muck, really. So it's going to go for Bullet Seed. I was like, that's not really doing a lot of damage there. But, it's not very effective. So clearly they don't have anything to hit me even for neutral damage. So I decided to get a minimize up here. And I've got Venoshock, so I went for that. Bullet Seed is going to miss here. Now, I don't think my opponent has... No, my opponent hasn't terrored yet. So this was a blunder policy. I'd say it... Well, yeah, it'd have to be a hustle set because Bullet Seed missed. So it's a blunder policy hustle set with Bullet Seed. And I got the Toxic off on there, which is good. So I can go for Venoshock now, which is going to be nice. And I've also got Terra Normal too, but at this stage, it's like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go for Terra Normal because maybe I should, or maybe they've got another move ready. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna go for Terra Normal, and hopefully this wasn't a bad idea, right? Hopefully this wasn't a bad idea. I do like Muck with a Terra Normal too. It looks really cool. So Bullet Seed is gonna miss. I was like, well, it's fine if they keep missing their attacks there. It doesn't matter what type I am, right? So we've got that minimize going, and we've got that Toxic going too. I've got Venoshock. What have I got? 2 minimizes up here. It's like, all right, I'll go. I guess I can go for either minimize or Venoshock. So all the Bullet Seeds, I think, actually miss there now. They're not landing any attacks whatsoever. So I don't know whether it's got a dragon type move. Like if it's got, I'm trying to think what would work on this. Dragon Rush would work with Blunder Policy, but clearly it doesn't have any other attacking moves outside of Bullet Seed. Otherwise it would have used them already here. So I've got my Venoshock here. I've got Maximum, as you can see, I've got Maximum Minimized. Then we had a Terra. So I'm like, I wonder what these are going to be. I guess it's going to be Terra Grass, right? To boost the power of Bullet Seed, because if this does hit, this is actually going to do a fair bit of damage, and Bullet Seed misses. So I was definitely lucky there. I probably, in hindsight, I never should have terrored there, because if that landed, that would have done a ton of damage. Anyway, that is the end of the battle. I hope you enjoyed all of these ones. It's a pretty fun team to do, actually, with all the different berries and stuff like that. It was very interesting. If you liked it, drop a like, drop me a comment below, and I'll catch you tomorrow for some more videos. Peace out.